Hello and welcome back to My Own Worst Enemy. It is time to start turn number 6 of Triumph and Tragedy. So it is now 1941. The year marker is on 1941. Our phase season marker is at the start of a new year. You'll note that there is an American flag on 1941, and that means that the influence from the United States is leaning now more towards the West. So that means that basically the West gets one influence marker in the United States now for the next, well, 4 years if you include 1940. So in this case, it's going to mean this influence marker that Germany had in the US comes out. And the West really is going to want to get the United States in as quickly as they can. You'll note that in 1942, 43, and 44, there are numbers here. And those numbers, if the West can get the United States as a satellite, those numbers will mean cadres coming into the USA and therefore into the West should they need those cadres, and they may, because things are happening over here. Moving right along in our sequence of play, we do a victory check. The USSR is still the closest power to victory with its 5 peace dividend points, production levels at 15, so that's 20 economic points. They're 5 short of an economic victory. And so they're not there yet, but they are the closest, and so we will continue on. Next thing it says to do is to reshuffle the decks. I've already done that. They're reshuffled, so we're ready to go there. And then the next thing we would do is to hand out peace dividends. Now this time, the only power to receive a peace dividend will be the West, because if you'll remember, the USSR and Germany violated neutrality, and for Germany it was the violation of neutrality into Poland. For the USSR, it was into the Baltic states. They did flip those to their relative powers, so only the West will draw a peace dividend here. So let's see what they get. They have 3 now, 3 points. They'd probably like to get more because it's not looking good for them, I don't think. 1, so they now have a total of 4, and their current production level sits at 12, so they're still trailing behind the, let's just put that over there. They're still trailing behind the Soviets. And so then the next thing we need to do is to determine the turn order. So we're going to roll a d6 to see who gets to go first. It is a 6, so looking at the board, that means it is, I think, the Soviets here. It is definitely the Soviets, so the turn order will go Soviets first in a clockwise fashion. So we will look at their production level. I said it was 15, so it is. I'm going to put the d20 out with their 15 production points that we can track, and they are going to decide how to spend those now. So the first thing I think they're going to do is buy some cards, of course. They've got a pretty good amount in their hand. That's probably leftovers from these reactions from what Germany did. So they're still going to want to buy a couple of more cards. Remember, there's action and investment cards. So I'm going to say they're going to buy, let's see, let's go ahead and get 3 investment cards. 1, 2, 3. Well, let's get 4 of those. We'll get 4 investment cards. We're down to 11. Now they are going to add an Air Force cadre. So let's add one of those. We're going to put it, we'll just put it into Moscow for now. So that's going to take them down to 10. I think they're going to want to increase some cadres. So let's do that. They're going to increase, take a little marker out here so I know that we've done this. This armor is going to go up to 3. So I'll show that I've done that. We're down to 9. They're going to take this armor up to 3. Going to take us down to 8. If I can find 8. And what else? I think they are going to increase this infantry to 3. That'll take us down to 7. We're going to increase this infantry to 3, down to 6. This infantry to 3. Now we're down to 5. I think we're going to spend 1 more, take us down to 4. I think they want to build a fortress in Moscow. They're getting a little nervous there, so let's go ahead and do that. Put our fortress out. Of course, I can't upgrade that at the same time I place it. And we're going to build up this Air Force. We will take it up to 3. It'll take us down to 3. And I think we're going to add another cadre. We're going to add an infantry into here. And again, I can't upgrade that. I just placed it. So that's going to take us down to 2. They're going to pull 2 more action cards, I think. So let's go 1, 2. And that is all of their production points spent. And so that means now the current turn goes to the Germans, and their production level is sitting at 14. Let's mark that on the D20. So they're at 14 production, and their cards, they don't have a lot of cards in their hand at all. So they're going to want some cards. They also want to build up their forces as well. Let's go ahead and build up the forces first. Let me get some, well, let's get these blue markers off of the Soviets. So we can mark the Germans with those now since the Soviets have already gone. And I should point out that in the last video, for whatever reason, brain glitch, that I had only reduced one of these infantry from 3 to 2, when actually the Polish fortress scored 3 hits. They're all back down to 2 where they should be, so just make note of that. All right, so the Germans definitely want to build up their forces, and I'm going to say that all 4 of these they're going to build back up. So I'm going to spend 4 points to build up those cadres. That'll take us down to 10. These each come out up to 3, level 3. Let's do that. I'm going to mark those as upgraded. But 1 to represent all of those are upgraded. They're also going to upgrade, I think, another armor to 3. So we're going to upgrade this one to 3. That'll take us down to 9. And they're going to upgrade this Air Force to 2. That'll take us down to 8. We're going to upgrade this armor to 3. That'll take us down to 7. And they're going to pull, I'm going to say 4 action cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 3 investment cards. 1, 2, 3. So that will spend the remaining production points for the Germans. So now we go to the West, and their production level is at 12. Let's mark that with the D20. And what do they want to do? So they have a ton of cards in their hand because of the those violations of neutrality committed by Germany and Russia. So they've got a pretty good stack of cards already. They still are going to want a few more, though. But they are also going to do some upgrading. So let's go ahead and get these blue blocks reset here. All right, and they are going to, I think, let's see, they have 12. I think they're going to upgrade all 3 of these units. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3. So they've upgraded those 3 units. Let's mark those as upgraded. Now we're down to 9. They are going to upgrade, I'm going to say they're going to upgrade these 2 units. The armor and the infantry go up to 3. They're upgraded. Now we're down to 7. They are going to upgrade this fleet, taking us down to 6. They are going to buy 3 investment cards. 1, 2, 3. And 3, 1, 2, 3 action cards, hoping they're going to get a USA action card there. So that is it for the, and I didn't move my little season marker down to production, but that's going to end the production phase for all 3. We'll go back to the Soviets. It's their turn, and we will go now into the government phase. We'll mark that. And let me grab these cards for the Russians. They've got a stack here, so let's sort through this real quick. And like always, we will start with the investment cards first if we can. So let's see what they want to do. I think what they are going to do, it will cost them 7 to increase their industry. They're going to do that. They're going to play these 3 cards for 7 points. Discard those here, and they're going to increase their industry level by 1. So they're now up to 13 there. Now that means we go to the Germans, and I'm going to put the Russian cards back down. So the Germans, let's see. Let's get their industry cards. They don't have a lot of industry cards, but let's see what they can do. And I think they are going to, they have this industrial espionage card, lets them pair one of their other cards with a revealed tech. So the West has rocket artillery revealed. They have rocket artillery in their hand, so they are going to play that. That will give them rocket artillery. We'll discard that. That's it for the Germans. Now we go to the West. They've got a pile of cards here. So let's go through all those and get their industry cards out. And they are going to play the air defense radar. So they want the air defense radar. Discard one of those, and now they have air defense radar in their technology. And back to the Soviets. Put the West cards back down. So the Soviets, let's see. They are going to now gain precision bomb sight. So they've got this 1942 card, which they cannot play, so they can't do this. It's not 1942 yet. So they're actually going to hold on to that. So they are not going to play any more of their industry cards. I think now they're going to go to playing their diplomacy type cards. So let's see what they might want to do there. They're going to play a Finland card. We'll put that out. Cards back down. Let's scoot over their industry cards. All right, so they played their Finland card, goes now to Germany. And Germany is also going to play one of their diplomacy cards. Let's see. They're going to play a USA card. They really want to keep the US out of any war. So that's their play. Now we go back to the West. And so the West has this mole card, which says inspect a rival's secret vault and then play this card with any tech in your hand that matches a tech found there. So basically, this being me playing this solitaire and not using the secret vault rule, I'm going to treat this as one of the, just as a regular pair card. So if it's a revealed tech and they have the card in their hand, they can pair it with that to gain the tech. So that's how I'm going to call that. So let's look to see if they can pair this with anything. Yeah, they can. So what they are going to do, and this is very important for them, they're going to pair that with the Atomic Research 1 that the Soviets have. So now they're going to gain Atomic Research 1. Pretty powerful for them. They need that. That is play for the West back to the USSR. Yeah, they're going to play this Ties That Bind card, which will allow them to add one friendly or remove one rival influence marker from the neutral nation listed after your faction. For them, it's either Spain or Yugoslavia. So they're going to put another influence marker into Spain. We'll discard, well, let's see, that goes over here. We'll discard that, and that's going to give them an influence marker into Spain. That's instantaneous because that's the card that they played. So that was their card play. Now let's go back to the Germans. The Germans are going to counter that with their own Birds of a Feather card. And it says they can add or remove in Portugal, Spain, Yugoslavia, or Latin America. They're going to actually remove a Soviet marker from Spain. So let's do that. And that marker that went in comes right back out. Now we're going to go back to the West. The West is going to play their Brothers in Arms card, and they want to put an influence marker into the US. So they're going to do that. Let's get an influence marker for the West into the US. Back to the Soviets. Grab their cards. They're going to play Fear and Loathing, which says they can remove a rival influence marker from one of the nations listed, and in their case, they are going to play the, let's see, they're going to play the, I think they're going to play the Turkey. They're going to remove the, well, let's see, can they do it from Persia? No, but they can do it for Turkey. So they're going to do that. They're going to take the West influence marker out of Turkey. That's the card they're going to play. Now we come back to the, where'd it go? Where's the, there it is. Back to the Axis. And they're going to play a Low Countries diplomacy card. And go back now to the West. And the West is going to play this Guarantee card. Add one friendly or remove one rival influence marker in any nation adjacent to rivaled controlled territory. So they are going to remove the Russian Finland marker. So that's what they're going to do there. Now we go back to the Soviets, and they're just going to pass. So that's one pass. We're going to go to Germany. They are going to play a second Low Countries card. And now we go back to the West. West is going to play a Greece card. That down. Back to the Soviets. They're going to pass. Back to the Germans. The Germans are going to play a Bulgaria card. A lot of diplomatic action going on with the Germans there. Back to the West. The West is going to play a Low Countries card. Back to the Soviets. They're going to pass. Back to the Germans. The Germans are also going to pass, so back to the West. The West currently has 8 cards in their hand. Well, that's okay. They can hold 8 cards if they want to, but I don't think they're done yet here, so let's see. They're going to play a Greece card. So we're going to go back now to the Soviets are going to pass. Germany's going to pass. Back to the West. They're going to play an Afghanistan card, and I'm knocking my discard pile around. Pass, pass, back to the West. We're going to play a Sweden card. Pass, pass, back to the West. And they are now going to pass, so that's going to be 3 passes in a row. And now we will resolve diplomacy. So let's go ahead and start over here with the Soviets. They played a Finland card. Finland is here. Did anyone cancel that out? So the West, I don't see a Finland card. I don't see a Finland card from Germany, so it looks like that the Soviets will get an influence marker into Finland. So we'll put that in there, discard that. And that's going to leave now the West and Germany. So let's start with the West. I see 2 Greece cards here, none down here for the Germans. So those 2 Greece cards mean 2 influence markers go into Greece, which is going to flip Greece now to a satellite of the West, which means, let's see. So there is a resource there. That's going to increase the resources for the West up 1. So now they're at 17. And Athens is a town, so no population increase there. I don't see any more. No, there's no more cities there. So that was Greece. Now, they also played this Low Countries card. But the Germans have 2 of those, so the net effect is 1 German influence marker goes into the Low Countries. Let's put 1 German marker into the Low Countries, 1 influence marker. And Amsterdam is a size 1 population. So 1 population goes up for Germany. And that also reminds me, I forgot, so when Finland became influenced by the Soviets, they get 1 resource. So that's going to go to 16. Finland only has a town, so no population increase for that. I think that catches us up. The West has an Afghanistan card out. No one else has an Afghanistan card out. So that's going to mean an influence marker into Afghanistan or the West. So that's over here. And Kabul is a town, so no population increase. And finally, the West has 1 Sweden card. No one else has a Sweden card. So an influence marker goes into Sweden. And it looks like that means that the West will gain 2 resources. There's Stockholm, and there's one up here in Galavar, if that's pronounced correct. So 2 resources will take them to 19. And this is a size 1 population. It's a city, so size 1 pop increase for West. And that is it for all the cards that the West had played. Now we only have 2 remaining for the Germans. So they've got a Bulgaria card. That's going to put an influence marker into Bulgaria for Nazi Germany. And that's going to grant them no population, but it looks like 1 resource. So let's bump that up to 13. That was Bulgaria. And finally, they had a US card, so that's going to remove Well, actually, no, that's not going to do anything because they, or did I do that right? They didn't flip this yet. I think that was one. I think I turned that on this wrong side. So basically, they're going to remove that influence marker that the West had just put in there. So that comes back out. And that is it for resolving the government phase. Everybody is in compliance with their hands. Make sure that the Soviets are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that is, oh no, they got to discard one. That's okay because they had this technology card in their hand that really wasn't doing them much good, I think. But let me make sure that there's not a diplomacy card they want to get rid of. So Yugoslavia, I believe, is already gone, and no, Yugoslavia is not gone yet, so they're going to hold on to that. Austria and Czechoslovakia should be gone by now. So they're just going to get rid of one of those. Now that puts them back into compliance. The West was okay, right? Let's double check. Yep, they're okay. And then, of course, Germany is okay. One other thing I forgot to do was remove all these little blue cubes. Let's do that real quick. Get those out of the way. So that should resolve diplomacy for this round. So that was the government phase. This will take us into the spring phase. All right, so in the spring phase, let's give the marker to the Soviets because they do get to go first. Let's see if they want to do anything here. They are going to play a spring command card. And unlike last time, we will do this in proper order. So now we come to Germany before we resolve that the way we should. Does Germany want to do anything? Germany's going to pass here. So that's going to take us now to, let me see something. Make sure that was, yeah, they do want to pass there. So now we're going to go back to the West and see if they want to do anything here in the spring. And they are going to pass. So now we come to the Soviets, but we have to resolve their spring card first. So what do they want to do here? They are going to bring this infantry down into here. And they are going to bring this Air Force unit forward one. All of these units are here. So that's what they wanted to do. Not very much, but still it was something. And okay, so that was the spring phase. Now we're going to go into the summer phase. So again, we go back to the Soviets. Start the summer phase off. They're going to choose to pass. So we come now to the Germans. The Germans are going to play a summer phase card. And does the West want to play a summer card? Let's see. They do have one. They choose not to play it though, so they're going to pass. So the Germans will get to resolve their summer command card. All right, so their summer command card is K9, so they can move 9 units. And I'm going to pull out the D20 again so we can keep track of this. They want to move some units here. There is a size 4 infantry that they want to move. Let's see, they can go 1, 2. I believe they can do that. Have strategic moving if they can't. So yeah, they can certainly do that. They're going to bring this forward. That's going to bring them down to 8. They're going to move this size 3 armor forward as well. Now we're down to 7. They're going to bring this size 3 infantry is going to go 1. Yeah, I don't think he can do that because of the mountains. Well, we still can do strategic move though because there's we have a clear shot. With infantry, that would be a regular move is 2. They could do a 4, so they could certainly come forward. So they're going to do that too. They're going to bring this infantry unit is going to come forward. So that should take us down to 6. They're going to bring forward one of these infantry units. Now we're down to 5. Still have these 2 units in Poland. They are going to move this. Well, let's see. No, they're not going to do that. They are going to bring these 2 units into here. So that's 2. So that's going to take us down to 3. And you can see that the Germans are moving forward on the Soviet front, and the Soviets are doing the same thing. So some positioning taking place here. And I think that the Germans are going to also spend another one of those. Now we're down to 2. They're going to move this infantry unit this way. I believe that is going to do it. So that's going to be their summer command card. They shuffled their units around there. And so now that is going to be it for the summer phase. Everybody's going to pass. Now, we're supposed to be checking for supply and blockading, but 1, there's no issues, and 2, nobody's really at war here yet, so not a problem. This will take us into the fall phase where we will start with the Soviets. The Soviets are going to pass. So now we're going to come to the Germans. And so the Germans are going to play a fall card. And now, does the West want to play a fall card? Do they even have a fall card? They don't even have a fall card, so nope. That's it for the fall cards. And so now the Germans get to do what they want to do with their L7 fall card. And what the Germans want to do, they are going to declare war on the Soviet Union. So, here we go. All right, so what does that mean? Let's get the rules here and make sure we're doing this right. Declaration of war. So the first thing is the declarer flips his relevant piece with marker to its DOW side. So basically the Germans are saying peace with Russia is over. Declaration of war exists on the Soviet Union, and the victim removes their peace with. So the peace with the Germany thing comes off, and basically that's going to mean their factory costs will go down by 2. We'll just set this aside somewhere. And so it says the declare units have temporary first fire for this. Well, that could be negated, of course, with the technology that the Soviets have. So here we go. And we can move 7 German units. So I think they want to take all 3 of these into the Baltic states. That's going to be 3 units. And then they're going to want to move, these 2 infantry units forward here. And so that's going to take them down to, so they move 3, 4, 5. They can move 2 more. They're going to bring 1 more of these infantry into here. And leave that one, that armored, actually, no, they're going to, let's see. Yeah, they're going to leave that armored division there. And that's their movement. So that's going to be it for the fall card. Now we've got to resolve these battles. We have 2 battles, 1 in the Baltic states and then 1 in Russia itself. So we're going to start up here, and let's just line these up. So the Soviets, let's see, they have first fire. They have motorized infantry. Does that give first fire? Nope, infantry moves 3. I don't know if they have any first fire technology here, so I don't, well, sonar, yep. But that's for ships, so that's not going to do them any good. That is a first fire, but it's for fleets. So they're not going to get to fire first here. They're going to have to take whatever pounding the Germans issue, I guess. So let's see, let's resolve this. Looking on the combat chart, it looks like tanks fire before infantry on the chart. So in this case, the Germans will get to fire first, though, because they do have the surprise for the declaration of war. So we're going to have this tank fire at, we're going to have it fire at the tank unit in there. So it'll be tank on tank action. And actually, it's more than just tank on tank. He's actually firing at ground units, I should say. So really, all these units are valid targets. So this armor unit is at 3, so he's going to get to roll 3d6. And looking for, so tank is looking for a 1 or 2 to hit. Now, are there any special abilities that they have from their technology? So they do have first fire again for heavy tanks. So again, it's not going to, they already have first fire, so it's not going to matter. So they are going to be rolling 3d6, looking for a 1 or 2 to do damage here. So they're going to fire. And that's 2 hits. And so the first hit will come off of this infantry. And then the second hit is up to the Soviet player, so he's probably just going to take another one off of an infantry. since those were equal. So the tank has fired. Now the order would be the Soviet tank can now fire. So he can fire. We're going to give him 2. He's strength 2, so he gets 2d6. And I don't think he has anything specialized. No, so it's going to be the same thing. He's firing at ground units and looking for, again, a 1 or 2 to hit. That's 2 hits. So these are all equal. So the German player gets to choose what it wants to remove those hits from. So it's going to take 1 off of this infantry and 1 off of the armored unit. All right, so that was the tanks now went. Looking at the chart, infantry's next. Again, the Germans will get to go first. And they have 1-3 cadre and 1-2 cadre. So they're going to get to fire 5 dice. And again, looking for, they do have first fire again, but they have it anyway, so not going to really matter. Nothing special here for the Soviets. So they're going to get to roll 5d6. And they are looking for infantry firing at ground needs a 3 or less to hit. So they're going to fire. And what is that? I can't see what that one is. It's a 6. So that looks like 3 hits. So the Soviet player is going to remove 1, 2, and he has to remove 1 more. So he's going to remove this infantry cadre, 3. And now that final Soviet infantry cadre is going to fire back. He only gets 1d6 because he only has 1 pip left. Looking for a 1, 2, or 3 to hit. And it's a complete miss. That is 1 round of combat in the Baltic states there, which the Germans came out better on the end of that deal. So that's going to end the combat round in there. And now we're going to come down here and conduct combat. So again, the Germans have first fire, but this the order over here on the unit chart doesn't matter. There's no fortress in here, so there is an Air Force though. So the Air Force will get to go before the Germans go. So the Air Force unit has 3 pips. Let's make them 3d6. And I don't think they get anything extra. Nope. They do have heavy bombers, but that's for movement. And down here, the Germans have nothing that would help them. So 3 pips. So the Air Force unit against ground has to get a 1 to hit. So he's rolling 3 dice looking for 1s to hit. And what is that? That looks like a 1. So there is 1 hit. And so the strongest unit is a size 4 infantry. That comes down to 3. And now we continue down the charts. The next things that are in here are armored units. And it's for the Soviets, they have an armored unit. The Germans do not. They just have 3 infantry. So this armored unit can roll 3d6. And it is looking for a 1 or 2 to hit the ground unit. So we roll. And that's 2 hits. So 2 hits come off of the German units. They're all equal, so we're just going to take 2 off of those. Well, 1 each off of those infantry, bringing them down to 2. And so now we go to infantry, and the Germans have a size 3 cadre and 2 size 2 cadres. So that's going to be 7. Let's see if I have 7 dice here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 1 more red d6 I have right here. So now they're going to get to fire 7 dice, and they are looking for, looks like 3 or less to hit. So let's roll those and see what they do. So 3 or less to hit. So I see 1, 2, 3 hits. Yeah, 3 hits. And that's got to come off of the armor, not the armor, but the ground units for the Soviets, starting with their largest. So the armor will take 1. This infantry will take 1. And now it's up to the Soviet player to determine which one he wants to reduce. He's going to reduce the armor. Logic being that he gets to fire his infantry next, so he'll get an extra d6 if he takes it off his armor. So that was the German attack. And then finally, these 2 infantry units for the Soviets will get to fire. They are 2 each, so they'll get to fire 4 dice. They are looking for a 3 or less to hit. And wow, that's 3 hits. Not bad at all. So there is a size 3. One's going to come off of that. So that's 1. 2 more hits. So we're going to reduce 1 each down to size 1 cadres. And that is a round of combat, and that is going to be it for that battle. All right, so those battles are resolved. Get the rule book out of the way here. So what I am going to do, let me grab some markers here because I want to show that these battles are engaged. So I'm just going to put a target marker over these 2 areas. For now, that's going to change, of course, but just to call attention to the fact there are ongoing battles going on there. And that ends the fall phase. So we will now go into, and of course we have to check supply and everything here, but no issues with either side. So this is going to take us into the winter phase. Now in the winter phase, let me grab the rule book again. It says for the winter phase, the USSR only can play 1 command card for any season in order to move units and fight battles within the USSR only. So the only place they could fight would be here, as this is in the Baltic states. So I guess that's considered the Soviets, the Union, right? I mean, it's an interesting question. Well, looking at the wording, it says that it is only within the USSR. So I'm going to, even though this is a satellite of the USSR, I'm going to think that the rule is stating that basically the red areas are the only place this would take place. Correct me if I'm wrong down below. It's an interesting question. This is a satellite, but it is not part of the USSR, the original boundaries of the USSR. So that may be misinterpreting this, but I'm going to say that the Soviets can do this. They can play a winter season card for this battle, but not that battle. But do they even want to do that? Let's look at their cards. And it would basically be 1 command card for any season in order to move units. So I guess they can move as many units as they want to. And they only have, let's see. The other option is not to do anything here and just wait and reinforce. And that might be the smarter thing to do. I think they're not going to do anything here this winter. They're going to wait for their reinforcements. So that's going to end the winter phase. They're going to pass, and that's going to take us to a new year. And it'll be 1942 when we come back, but I am going to end it here. So war has been declared. The Germans just had enough of the Soviets, and they saw an opportunity to attack, and they did so because the Soviets were creeping up towards an economic victory, and the Germans don't want to see that. And so they're going to try to take out the Soviets. Now the West is sitting over here still horrified. They're just watching this. They've got a decision to make too. The Germans are still fairly strong on the western side here, so they may want to consider maybe taking preemptive action themselves. I don't know. I mean, they're also up at 19 on their resource marker, but they're down on 12 on their industry. So peace-wise, peace dividends-wise, economic victory-wise, they're not really doing so great. They do have atomic research 1, so they're still a ways off from getting the atomic bomb. So I'm not sure what the West is going to do, how they're going to react to what's going on here. We will see when we come back. All right, so we're going to end it here. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Those are important to the channel. And definitely become a subscriber if you haven't. That's even more important to the channel. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you back here next time.